Proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania. This is WNEP 16, the news station. Now, Nolan Johannes, Karen Harch, pilot Jack Rulin in Skycam 16, Chief Meteorologist Tom Clark, and Joe Zone on sports. This is Newswatch 16.
It looks as though the trend to fill it up for less will continue for a while. We've been telling you that gasoline prices are going down. In fact, they've dropped to their lowest level in 5 years. And experts say by the end of the month, the average price for a gallon of regular leaded gas could go as low as 94 cents. We found some drivers today in Union County filling up on self-serve regular gas at just under 99 cents a gallon. Unleaded gas at this self-service station in Allenwood is selling for just under $1.08 a gallon. As Newswatch 16's Craig Stevens found in Snyder County, the oil glut and fierce competition between oil-producing nations are also causing a drop in home heating oil prices.
Cash price for home heating oil in many places is at its lowest level in 5 years. We checked and found that the buck a gallon Bilger Fuels is charging home customers is about the average price. Here, the bill today will be about $180, and that's about $36 less than Terry Ford would have paid for the same delivery last year.
It just gives us a little more money. At the end of the year, we should come out a little ahead, and we can also put the thermostat up a little bit now.
But if customers are saving a bit of money, oil companies aren't making quite as much profit. With low prices, competition for business is fierce. Do you think prices are going to go any lower?
I don't really believe it. Not on home heating oil. No.
Why not?
It's starting to get cold, starting to be a little more usage of it. Demand's starting to increase.
And that'll keep the price up?
I would imagine.
Now, some experts are predicting that home heating oil prices will dip even lower before they hit rock bottom. What that means is that anyone who owns a home and heats it with oil is in for even more savings before the winter ends. Craig Stevens, Newswatch 16, Selinsgrove.
Because many of you have many questions but few answers to your problems, you turn to our Jerry Gartenberg. Tonight, Jerry dips into his Action 16 mailbag to get some answers for some of you who have written in. Jerry?
Nolan, you know, since the phone company breakup, we're still getting lots of questions from consumers. For example, Alan Knights of Milton wants to know why he has to pay rental charges on his phone 3 months in advance. Alan, I spoke with AT&T officials. They say they now bill customers 3 months at a time because it saves you postage and saves the company thousands in processing fees. But Alan, AT&T says if you like, you can still pay 1 month at a time. And that goes for the rest of you, too. Now, on to Ruth DeReamer of Chinchilla, who paid $19.95 for these Christmas ornaments. But then she saw an ad from the EMP sales company. It says you only have to pay $3.77 for the same ornaments that sell elsewhere for $19.95. Not bad, right? That's what Ruth thought, until she got these.
I didn't think that I was going to get a miniature set like this.
Well, Mrs. DeReamer, the company apologizes and promises it'll send you a refund. The postal inspectors promise they'll investigate.
I don't like to get ripped off.
Finally, Abram Daniels of Kingston bought this attachment to his electric mixer from an authorized Sunbeam dealer in Allentown. Seems the authorized Sunbeam dealer in Kingston wanted to charge him $7 more for the very same thing. And Mr. Daniels wants to know whether that's legal. Well, Mr. Daniels, it is legal. A manufacturer authorizes dealers to do repairs, but it doesn't tell them what to charge. That means it's up to you to shop around for a good price. And you know what? I'm glad you did.
Okay, very good advice as usual. Thank you, Jerry.
And good questions, too.
Yeah, excellent.
Yes, definitely.
Back to the mailbag, right? Okay, Jerry, thanks.
Thank you. Well, if you looked out your window today, you might have thought spring arrived early. It hasn't, of course, and a step outside proves it. But it was a good day to take the car in for a quick bath. At this car wash in Moosic, the owner figured 1,200 to 1,500 cars would go through for a warm, sudsy wash and rinse. Some are obviously more in need of a wash than others, looks like my car. But no matter how heavy the dirt, the blue sky and sun today seem to trigger a need in car owners to make sure their vehicles lost some of winter salt and grime.
It's a nice day we've had, so.
You know, we might get snow tonight. What are you going to do if it snows?
Wash it again after the snow's gone.
Because they tell me it's going to freeze like H tomorrow, so I'm washing it today, getting ahead of it.
And it's nice to have a car clean, at least for one day.
You never did get there, did you?
No.
I had to wait in line yesterday.
Yeah, none of us did. And Chief Meteorologist Tom Clark is next with the dirty car and his clean forecast.
And I understand we have a lot of cold weather coming.
You want to reverse that, Nolan, a little bit. Yeah. Dirty for a clean car. I'm not too happy with what I have to say tonight. I'm telling you, Old Man Winter is not about to reach out and touch. He is going to reach out and grab us tomorrow. I'll be right back.
A truck was having its troubles on an area interstate today, and some of the passengers had a real kick coming. It seems you just can't get a comfy ride to market these days. This cattle truck was sidelined along Route 81 at Avoca when the bottom fell out, and that presented quite a problem to the 39 cows and 1 bull inside the rig. All that beef got bullied onto a second rig that delivered them safely to their Wyalusing destination. Oh, my.
What a shock.
And everybody lived happily ever after.
Yes.
Right.
Out to the backyard to Tom Clark, our meteorologist.
Okay, thank you, Karen. It feels like heaven outside here tonight compared to what it's going to be like this time tomorrow. We'll get to those frigid statistics after I show you how comfortable it is outside now. We have some cloudy skies overhead, and it is mild at 34 degrees. Humidity 52%, the wind west at 10. The barometer is falling, but look how low it is, 29.42. High temperature this day, 36. Not too bad, almost broke a sweat out there today. 20, the low so far. 10 below back in 1914, the record. We had an inch of snow on this date 1 year ago. And photographer Larry Lavelle got us a nice shot of the skyline of Tamaqua down there in Carbon County. A little snow left on the ground. Hey, we know with the recent cold spell we've had, a lot of people have thought about doing some skating, like these guys did today out at East Mountain Lake in Lackawanna County. But, of course, the danger with skating is the thickness of the ice. And if it's 3 inches or less in thickness, it's not safe. But it is recommended that the ice be between 4 and 5 inches thick or thicker for it to be safe. That's a good rule of thumb. So if you get out in the ice and it begins to crack, you know it's 3 inches or less and not safe. A good way to check the thickness, I guess, is to drill a hole in there and measure it yourself. But make sure the ice is thick. We've got a lot of thick ice coming the next couple of days with the temperatures, what we expect. Here's the view from outer space. We have a storm system now bearing down on the Great Lakes. It has a very strong Arctic front dangling down from the storm center. That is now entering western Pennsylvania, and we got a mean rush of cold air coming in tonight behind that line, and Old Man Winter just reaching out from northern Canada, the Arctic Circle, to give us a tap on the shoulder tomorrow, a grab around the neck, and it's going to be mighty frigid. Here's my forecast coming up for tonight. I think it's going to get snowy later on tonight as that cold air moves in. And I think by morning, some roads could be quite slick and may need treating with some salt. About 2 inches could accumulate by midday tomorrow over the northern counties, about 1 inch or less in the valleys, perhaps up to 2 inches over in the Poconos. These temperatures I expect by 7 tomorrow morning, and not any higher than that through the day tomorrow. As a matter of fact, they may just fall a little bit through the day tomorrow in the teens. Wind chill factors 10 to 20 below outside tomorrow. Man, I hate saying that. Now, here's the sunrise and sunset for tomorrow, 7:26. The sun will set at about 4:59. There's no stopping it now. Some snow coming in later on tonight. This evening should be just fine if you have anywhere to go, but I think by the rush hour tomorrow morning could be kind of slick. 18 will be the high tomorrow. Very windy. Bundle up. Think protection. Cover your face. I'm going to wear a hat tomorrow night for sure. Now, Wednesday, partly sunny, 23. A little snow is possible on Thursday. Start your day tomorrow with a good, nourishing breakfast with something hot to drink. That helps.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good idea.
Right. Good advice.
And get out the long johns, too.
Yes.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Coming up, Tim Carlson in for Joe Zone on the Sports Watch and the new Super 16 wrestling rankings.
Plus, news of fake Super Bowl tickets. We'll show you what to watch out for.
Now shop right as the can, selling lots of brands of everything in cans. Today it's great to save some cash, so come to shop right can dash from can to can. You'll save much more on every brand. Now's good time to shop. At ShopRite's Can Blast, now's the time to stock up while the values last.
ShopRite tomato sauce, applesauce, kidney beans, or Hanover pork and beans, 4 cans, 99 cents.
Think of cheese, all the varieties, flavors, and textures. And how about butter? Is there anything quite like real butter? Or sour cream? Or yogurt? Is there anyone who really doesn't love ice cream? Well, all those things, all that goodness and good taste starts right here. So how about pouring a nice, tall, ice-cold glass right now? Hey, make it milk.
When it's time to make your mind up, make it milk.
The Newswatch 16 news game is back into full swing after a break over the holiday season. For last week's winners, we go to Scranton. This group of 11th graders is the winner in our weekly current events quiz. The juniors at Scranton Tech are members of Joe Arcuri's class. Newswatch 16's Kathy Bellich visited with the high school students today. Their average score of 65 is one of the highest we've seen in the Newswatch 16 news game. Congratulations.
Well, they really had to be watching and reading, right? To get that down. Congratulations. Yeah. And this fellow over here is about to tell us where's Joe Zone tonight.
I'm so glad you asked that, Nolan. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering where Joe is. Well, he's just now arriving in Palo Alto, California, the site of this year's Super Bowl game between the Dolphins and 49ers. Joe and photographer Dave Bertram will be there all week to bring back to us live reports on the pregame activities. Now, if everything getting around out there goes well today and tonight, we'll hear from Joe hopefully with a live report tonight on the update. No matter what, the rest of the week, count on reports every edition of Newswatch 16. It's all part of the big week leading up to ABC's coverage of Super Bowl 19 this Sunday starting at 4 p.m. That, of course, live and exclusively here on Channel 16, and I can't wait. Speaking of the big game, there's a problem with tickets. Seems those of counterfeit nature have been showing up. The NFL does have a way of proving whether the ticket you have is fake or genuine, but you have to travel to San Francisco to find out.
A ticket verification center at Candlestick Park, and that center will be open between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. daily through next Saturday for those who wish to establish the authenticity of their tickets. There are tests, which we won't go into, that we can perform that will establish the authenticity of the ticket clearly for those who have questions. We'd very much like to emphasize that if a ticket was obtained directly from an NFL team ticket office, you need not be concerned about the ticket's validity.
Now, before you get too upset about the tickets you might have being real, most of the bogus passes have been found in the Bay Area of California. But remember, if you've gotten your ticket through an NFL team, there's nothing to worry about. A lot of reshuffling in this week's Super 16 high school wrestling rankings. Let's take a look at how they stack up right now. Falling 13 places to number 16, Pocono Mountain, they dropped both their meets last week. Down from 9th to 15th, North Schuylkill, they split 2 meets. A newcomer at number 14, Allentown Allen, they're 6-1, winning 2 meets last week. Up a couple of notches, 13th ranked Athens, the Bulldogs victorious twice last week. With 2 convincing wins a week ago, number 12 belongs to a new entry, Nazareth. One better at number 11, another new team, Jersey Shore. They're unbeaten in 8 meets. After splitting 2 meets last week, the Berwick Bulldogs fall from 7th to 10th. West Scranton has made a strong move up from 14th to 9th. The Invaders won both meets last week, won by a 71 zip score. The Tunkhannock Tigers, who won 3 meets last week, have moved up from the 8th slot from 12th. At number 7, Stroudsburg, they're up 4 places from 11th. Southern Columbia has yet to lose in 7 matches. That's why they're up from 10th to 6th. After winning their 2 meets last week, the Mohawks of Myers crawl up 1 slot to 5th. They're ranked number 4, by the way, in the state's AA. The Concrete Kids from Northampton have also climbed 1 spot in the Super 16. They won 2 meets last week and are now number 4. Another team gaining ground on the leaders, Northwestern. They're 7-0. The top 2 teams continue to roll along. Easton holding on to the number 2 spot for the 2nd straight week. And at number 1, defending AAA state champions Shikellamy, the Braves, are 6-0. The Super 16 basketball rankings tonight on the update, and hopefully that live report from the Super Bowl with Joe Zone.
Yes, we're going to put the satellite to use, right? For that
right
live
on,
report?
absolutely.
All right.
Okay, looking forward to that. Thanks.
Thanks, Tim. Stay with us now. We'll be heading south in Skycam 16 to the Pennsylvania Farm Show.
Tonight, Bob Cosentini tells us about an area family who's been keeping a tradition warm for 3 generations.
I get more use out of this everyday dinnerware from Acme. And you'd never guess it's only 69 cents a piece. I bought 1 a week, And before I knew it, I had a 20-piece service for just $13.80. At that price, I bought the floral and the formal pattern. And I also bought completer pieces like this vegetable bowl and covered casserole at terrific savings. Together, they make your table every bit as appetizing as Acme's price. Tell a friend you can really save at Acme.
It was Senior Citizens Day today in Harrisburg at the 69th State Farm Show. The annual event is expected to draw close to 500,000 visitors. There's no admission to the Farm Show complex, and you can see it all here from Skycam 16. Visitors are charged $2 to park their car in the 60-acre lot or at Harrisburg Junior Community College next door. The popular show started yesterday. It continues through this Friday.
Well, many people who make their living working the land will be spending time at the farm show this week, showing off their livestock. Newswatch 16's Bob Costantini flew in Skycam 16 to the farm show today. He tells us about one family from Bradford County who's been going to that show for 3 generations.
Ken Moore is getting his prize Rambouillet sheep ready for the show. He's been bringing sheep from his farm near Rome in Bradford County to the Pennsylvania Farm Show since 1938.
Well, the sheep has improved a lot from what they was then, back in 1938.
How so?
They're bigger.
There are 3 generations of the Moore family at the fair. All help with trimming the sheep for show. Moore's daughter Doris has been at this since she was in 4-H. She's married to a farmer, and they raise sheep of their own.
I like going to the fairs and the shows. You get to meet a lot of nice people here.
Coming to these fairs is hard work, as the 3rd generation of this Bradford County family knows. Will the tradition continue?
Can't really make up my mind too well between driving tractor trailer or anything like that. I'm not too sure. I've had this in mind.
The decision can wait. Time now for the Moore family to get the wool length just right, taking off the clumps, leaving many inches of wool. This Rambouillet sheep will not be sheared for wool here at the show. That comes in the spring when the wool is at its thickest. At that time, this Rambouillet should produce about 15 or 16 pounds of quality wool. Bob Costantini, Newswatch 16 at the Pennsylvania Farm Show, Harrisburg.
And that's Newswatch 16 for Monday.
On the update, we'll show you the latest equipment at the farm show. I hope Bob doesn't get behind a tractor out there.
Right. World News Tonight is next for the team. Thank you for being with us.
Enjoy your evening.